Welcome, guys, to the virtual roundtable. I am your host, Lady K, Kaya, and it's a blessing to be here. I'm thankful to have each and every one of you here at the virtual roundtable. We come together to encourage, to empower, and to shift mindsets in order to provoke change. So just to be here once again to gain some wisdom and knowledge from someone that's fairly new on our platforms, I count it an honor today. We have a special guest, Mr. Tracy Brown, and he is here and he's ready to share and to talk and to have conversation. This is your first time here, welcome. We always start off in prayer, so I'm going to lead us in prayer today and we're going to get started. Oh God, how we thank you, how we love you, how we praise your name, how we lift you up. We give you honor for allowing us to see another day that we've never seen before. You gave us use and activity of all of our limbs. So we're so gracious today, God. Thank you for even the wisdom and the knowledge that will come forth on this platform today, God. Help us to take this word, God, and help it, allow it to begin to do the healing on the inside. If there's any brokenness, God, that's on the inside of us, we thank you in advance. We bind the will of the enemy. We bring his works to naught in Jesus' name. God, bless the people that are on here, the ones that will be watching a little later on. Touch their families, give them the things that they need, God, the things that they've asked you for. And we give you the praise, honor, and glory that's due in your name, Jesus. Amen. 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 So, guys, I record these virtual roundtables and I upload them to my YouTube channel. So if you're watching later on, definitely make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel and this video. Definitely, again, it's an honor to have each and every one of you all here. Some are returning week to week, but then we have a few new people on here. So I'm thankful. If you all saw the flyer that I sent out, it said Barbershop Talk. I started a little small series about, but you know, all know that I'm a barber. And we have all kinds of conversation in the barbershop. And one of them that we talk about is we talk about brokenness. I deal with a lot of different people in the barbershop. And someone said, well, I know because you deal with so many men, they have all kinds of crazy conversations going on. And I told them that I deal with a unique group of individuals. I deal with mature men, you know, family men, and they're very respectful, but we have real conversation. You know, we get deep, and I love it because I'm in a private suite. So we get the opportunity to have that one-on-one conversation. So I hear stuff from divorce, separation, to, you know, upset with parents, all kinds of things. But one of the topics that we talk about is baggage. And that's what we're going to speak on tonight, you know, hearing it from a man's perspective. A lot of times we hear baggage and we hear women, you know, talking about the things that the man brings and different things. And a lot of times, a lot of women don't even like to admit, you know, that they have baggage. But I think that's one thing that we all have to do is admit that we personally, male or female, we have baggage. I heard somebody say that everybody has skeletons in their closet. Or they say if you get ready to hook up with somebody, everybody got some type of baggage. You just got to figure out who you want to help unpack their baggage, right? And I'm really beginning to believe that because everybody I see got something going on in their life or something that has happened. That doesn't make them a bad person, right? But it does make them an individual, you know, that's having real life situations, real life issues, and those things are supposed to make us better, right? We're not supposed to carry those issues, those situations on and on where they create baggage, but we're supposed to begin to deal with them one by one. So we're going to start here at the round table by talking about some of this baggage. We talked several sessions before about baggage in different, you know, facets, but we have a young man that wants to speak on baggage tonight. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our speaker. Again, this is the virtual roundtable. This is a stem from my nonprofit, which is called Own Your Brokenness. Own Your Brokenness is an entity that actually in the process of creating it now, but it's an entity that will help youth and young adults, help to rebuild young adults, but help to build youth to be sustaining individuals in the community, to help them to own that brokenness, those things that have broken them at childhood. Because we know that if you don't address your childhood traumas, your adult relationships will. So On Your Brokenness Foundation Incorporated will be that entity that will create outlets for them to do that before they enter into adulthood. We want, to create platforms where the atmosphere is conducive for individuals to talk about what's going on in their life, feel that there's a safe space, because a lot of times when we talk about men, one thing I hear in the barbershop, that these are the ones that are married as well, they never feel like there's a safe space for them to, expose the things that have happened to them, for them to talk about it. And when they finally do talk about those small things, a lot of times there's some type of retaliation that comes behind it, right? Sometimes the lady will take it and bring it up in a later argument. Sometimes they will be reprimanded, from what they say. So, and a lot of times all it takes is that one time, and then they'll shut down completely. So we want them to know that there are safe places around for you to expose, what is holding you back, what's hindering you from your next level of growth, your next level of advancement. So again, if you would like to sponsor the roundtable, we just gave away 2 financial literacy scholarships. And that's one area where I want to help individuals to become financial literate. We can't continue to keep moving forward. We want to start creating generational wealth, start helping individuals that come forth. So we had 2 on here. We gave away 2 financial literacy scholarships, and it's by some of the donations that you all have given. So continue to keep giving. We have a few other scholarships that we're going to give away, not necessarily financial literacy, but that there are a few other avenues, and I'm working on a photo shoot now, which is going to be a fundraiser. It's a 2023 calendar, Men of Excellence. I have 12 men that have really stuck out to me, or some of them are clients, friends that I'm connected with. And we're getting together in a little less than a month, and we're doing this photo shoot for this calendar. It's basically featuring them and showing that we do have positive men that are out here that are making a difference, that are making a change. So all of your support will definitely I'll be grateful for. You can use Cash App at Own Your Brokenness, and then Venmo Own-Your-Brokenness if you want to give any donation to the virtual roundtable. And I definitely will give you a receipt from the nonprofit in order for you to write it off on your taxes. So without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker, Mr. Tracy Brown. Haven't known him a long time. One thing I've asked God about in this season of my life is to connect me with people that where there's a divine connection. And one thing about it, when we connected, it just seemed like it was a brother that I had known, but he's been there all along, but we just met and there was an instant connection. We have great conversation, intelligent conversation, and he's full of wisdom. And I'm thankful that he's open enough to actually share, his experiences. He's originally from Rahway, New Jersey. He's been in Atlanta 24 years and he has 6 children. He's he serves our Lord and Savior, Yeshua, Jesus Christ. He's been saved for 24 years, and he's very active in the church ministry and outreach, in street ministry and counseling ministry, the food ministry, men's ministry, and the youth ministry. So I'm thankful to have him, thankful for this divine connection. Welcome, Mr. Tracy. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and appreciate you giving me a time to be on your virtual roundtable. I enjoyed myself last week, and that was a phenomenal brother you had on, and we had a great discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, guys, it's not too late. Invite someone to come to the virtual roundtable. We're going to have a great discussion this evening about baggage. Everyone has it, and I know you know someone. If you just stop right now, think of someone, someone that is carrying baggage, and that is holding them up from where they need to be. You see the potential in them, but they don't see the potential in them in themselves. Take a few moments and forward a link that I sent to you to them so that they can join us at the virtual roundtable as well. So we're going to start off, Mr. Tracy. I'm not going to prolong the time, but we've had a few conversations and we talked about, baggage. He sent me this video and the video was interesting. We couldn't get it to play today, but maybe a little later on we will. And one thing on the video that really stuck out to me was these two guys talking, and one of them was constantly, it was like he was just picking up this bag, and he actually had physical bags there. And every time he came had an encounter with a situation that the other guy was telling him about, he picked up some more bags, and he said, "This is how we are in life. We just go through life, and something happens. And a lot of times we pick up baggage that don't even belong to us. Some of that baggage belongs to other people, and I think that's the worst part about it. Sometimes it's our family, sometimes it's your grown kids, right? Sometimes it's the people at work, and you're trying to figure out, like, why am I so heavy naturally and spiritually? And it's because I'm carrying stuff that don't even belong to me. Mr. Tracy, I'm gonna open the floor right there for you to jump in.
Well, what the actual videos by Skit Guys, it's about 10 years old, but it's so relevant to actually what we're talking about today, because what we do as we grow up, the people in our lives actually give us baggage that we weren't asking for. We think about our family, people at our school, when we get a little older, when we go to work, when we have to deal with other people, sometimes even people inside of the church, have given us baggage that we didn't ask for. But then we got to think about the baggage that we put on ourselves too, because the thing is, we carry around self-doubt. We carry around not believing in ourselves, not thinking we're good enough because of what we are receiving constantly. And I give you an example from myself. My father gave me a lot of baggage that I had to deal with. My mother gave me some baggage that I had to deal with, but it came from their marriage not working out when I was 15 years old, and they got a divorce. So now I had to actually deal with two people who used to love each other, who now don't get along, and then they're talking about each other to their son. And that's baggage I got to put on myself. And how many times have we dealt with that from other people and we didn't ask for it? And one of the things that really, I was talking to some young kids, actually, some of the kids that that here live with me, they're 20 years old, and they're talking about how their parents have given them baggage on the decisions that they made because of what has happened to them in their childhood. Case in point, when it comes down to parents who have been on drugs, and now you have children that have grown up with that. They have children, and they're so hard on their children about not being on drugs that they pressure them almost into being in drugs and getting into it, whether it be marijuana or harder stuff as it is. They're getting to drinking because they push them so hard, or they push them so hard into getting good grades and trying to be excellent. We as Black people carry around a lot of baggage. Black women carry even more baggage than the Black men do. We are carrying a lot of stuff, and then we don't always have the safest places to talk about it. And I'm not going to say women don't. Most of the time, y'all have each other, but you do have. I personally, this is me personally, because I'm a man, but I'm speaking from my perspective. I know that y'all talk to each other, but men talk surfacely to each other. Women have more in-depth conversations. I say that because of being around women, and my mom, and I would sit there and be in another room and listen to her talk to her friends, and they're having deep conversations where men are having surface conversations, and they're not really delving into the deep part. And when somebody does, they clown. They make them tell them that they're being emotional, or they're acting like a woman, they're acting like a female. And so men don't have these spaces to actually release this stuff that they're dealing with. But I'm not saying women don't have it either, because I'm quite sure women carry baggage from what the men have given them. So I'm not going to say that they don't have any, but we all carry a lot consistently. But where do we go to get it off of our backs? And of course, the Bible tells us we can give all our burdens unto God, but we also have to talk about it. So if we're not talking about it and we're just holding it in, yeah, we can pray, but that doesn't mean that God didn't tell us to discuss it with those who we trust, or even discuss it with him. Because if he was able to walk with Adam in the cool of the day and talk to him, and he's able to speak to us consistently, and he's asking us to give us give us our burdens to him, we should be doing it. That means there's some place where we can go to actually talk about this, to give us some insight, also to give us some wise counsel on how to deal with our issues. And a lot of times I don't think we are doing this. So I'm my question to everybody else is, and then I know people don't want to get too personal all the time, but what kind of baggage do you think you can share that you think you've been carrying for a while? Me and Lady K have talked, and I'm still dealing with stuff with my father. He not too long passed away, but I'm still dealing with it. But the more I talk about it, it helps me to deal with it better. I'm still have some issues going on with my marriage that has dissolved, and I've gone through a divorce. Yeah, I've dealt with it. I feel a lot better than I did, but I can't say the baggage is not still there. So it's a work in progress. So what have people put on you? What are you dealing with? What do you think is something that you can actually talk about that can help you get rid of some of this weight that we have on our shoulders?
I can go first. I was talking to, I kind of agree with you about the parents' side of baggage. I feel like I carried a lot of my father's baggage because my father, he never, like, I don't remember my father has this issue where, like, he always likes to talk down to people if he feels some certain type of way. And, like, my dad always told me that I never amount to anything, or I never heard him say he was proud of me or nothing like that. And one thing of yesterday was Father's Day. So yeah, I'm gonna go visit him because, even though my dad wasn't like the best role model for me, I never held that against him. I always loved my dad. So I went there yesterday. I told him that, I told him everything that was going on in my life, what I was planning on doing in my life, and he wasn't very happy with it because my dad was always that type of person, like, you can't go nowhere if you don't go to college or nothing like that. And with me, I was always the person that, I didn't want to go to school and then collect debt and then go work for somebody. I never wanted to work for anybody. I always wanted to do my own thing and own. And I feel like his peer pressure on me, talking down on me, got in my head. And so when I graduated high school, I went to Georgia State for like 2 years, and I was studying film. And I did a movie. I was on a movie set. I was working outside of school on a movie set, and I didn't like the vibe of just being told what to do, not knowing when I'm gonna get off work, or when the day's gonna end, coming in early. And I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. So I got into driving. I started working for FedEx, and I started liking driving. And I told my dad I dropped out and wanted to get my CDL, and he wasn't too happy about that. But the good news is I got my CDL on Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to going to school and just I'm praying about that baggage and that baggage of that self-doubt that, I don't care that his baggage to, like, if I have a kid, I don't want to be that father of like, oh, you can't do this. If you got to do this, you'll never amount to anything. So I feel like I'm carrying about his baggage of self-doubt and pity and negativity. And yeah, so that's it.
Well, you know what? I understand that very much because my father put his fear, and my mom too, put his fear of being your own boss in me, because it's a risk. And I believe some of it has to do with a certain era, because of what they were taught. Get a good job, work for a certain amount of time, be secure, and now you can have a great life after you retire. And not realizing the entrepreneurial spirit inside of you. And I think a lot of us grew up with that. I know I did. I was always saying, got to go to school. You got to go to school. And there's nothing wrong with going to school. But if it's not really for you, it's not really for you. I think we were so ingrained into the system that we put baggage on our children, and And I think when you start going against the grain and doing things different, I think what happens is parents take it as a slap in the face. It's like, what, your life wasn't good enough for me. You're not gonna follow what I did. And that's not fair to you because you have your own life. And I'm glad you were able to take your own path. And sometimes you gotta upset your parents, to take your own path. You gotta go against the norm, if you're gonna do this. And knowing it's gonna be a risk, but it's the risk you were willing to take to do that. And I was put into that. And even it's still hard for me to get out of that. But I want so much more. You mind if I ask how old are you, Chris?
I turned 22 in March.
Well, congratulations. You're starting early. So I'm going to just say, you know what? Do your thing. Continue to do what you need to do for you, because it is your life. They may not be upset, and sometimes they don't see the vision that you have for yourself or what God has given you. And it's because God gave it to you. So hopefully, we can release some of that weight of that baggage on you today. And I think a lot of us have dealt with that, where people have not believed in what you said. Like Kaya says it all the time about me, like I'm long-witted and I like to talk. And I do like to talk. I do. Don't get me wrong. When I have a good conversation, I like to talk. But I remember when I was like 18 years old and I told somebody I wouldn't mind being on the radio, and they was like, I don't see it. And I accepted what they said. And that's very funny that that's brought up, because in that video, it talks about that. We worry about what other people think, and we take on that baggage also. So does anybody else want to share?
It's interesting. One of the conversations I had with a young man in the shop, his father had just passed probably last week. And one of his friends called him. So he was getting a haircut at the time. So he put it on speakerphone. And I was just listening to the way that they talk. And like you said, men are very surface. Now, this was a close friend of his. I think their kids play ball together, and they just, really connected. But as he was trying to, tell them, I'm sorry, or, it was just like it was hard for him to get those words out, like, my condolences, because that's kind of like a sensitive spot for people. But then for a man to say that, now I'm going to have to tap into my soft side, as some people say, my intimate side, or, that's the emotional side that I'm not supposed to let anybody see, because I was told from a young age that no one is supposed to see the side. It was just that whole conversation was strange. And what he's like, man, I was just calling to let you know that, I'm sorry about your loss. And it was just like, it took him so much to get, that out. He said about, I just want to give my condolences, and I've been through that, because that guy had lost his father a little bit ago as well. He said, I definitely know how you feel, but if anything I can do for you, I'm here. Or whatever. And it wasn't a long conversation, but it was just a strain for that conversation. And I think we have to start letting our men know that we got to start normalizing, showing your emotional side, allowing your feelings to show, and then as women, we have to allow that to happen, because a lot of times, as young boys are coming up, when we said it before, the first thing that's said is, stop crying. What you crying for? You know what I'm saying? Men don't cry, suck it up. So once they hear that over and over again growing up, this is what develops in there. You're feeding this into their spirit. So now they meet this young lady around teenage age, and she wants him to really show his emotions and different things. And he don't know what she's talking about, because he's never been allowed to show that. So it's just kind of a strain on that relationship, because it's like, he's not saying this, but in his mind and inside of him is like, I've never been allowed to cry. I've never been allowed to really pour out what's going on with me. So how can I start now as a teenager? Then he goes forward and he gets married, late 20s, 30s. And this wife is wanting that part of him. She wants him to really open up and be intimate and show her the things that he's gone through, tell her about that he's been raped, that he's been molested, and different things. And he doesn't even know where to start at, because all my life I've been carrying this baggage. And I don't even know if it's safe for me to give this to you. Yeah, you and my wife, I made a commitment to you, but I don't even know if it's okay for me to open up and expose myself to you, because it's a vulnerable place. And now I'm really feeling naked because now I'm giving this all to you. And then my thought is, what are you going to do with it when I give it to you? Right. Go ahead, Tracy. I see your hand.
You said a lot. And there's on my TikTok page, I put a picture up, and there was a conversation piece that I wanted to put out there, where a young man was being talked to by his mother, and he was crying, and she was like, "Men don't cry. Stop being so emotional." Da 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 da. Then he got into a relationship as he got older, and his girlfriend or his wife was saying, "You don't open up. You don't tell me what's going on with you." And when you were saying all that you were saying, the baggage that we may have, we might be ready to take it off our shoulders, but now we got to unzip it. And now we got to expose what's on the inside. And like you were saying, do we trust you enough to give that to you, that you won't use it on me later when you get mad? Because you don't know the true flavor of a situation or a person. Like when I say a tea bag, you don't know the true flavor of a tea bag until it hits the hot water. So when it gets to the hot water and things get heated and you want to win a debate or argument, are you going to use that personal thing that I gave you to go against it? And that was one of the things I had issues with my father. He used personal stuff to win an argument. And so if my father has done this, the person who's supposed to be my blood, now I get into a relationship with somebody, and I got to be concerned whether or not this person who I have not known all my life, am I going to be able to give that information to them and they not use it against me? Vice versa, men and women, because men can do it to women also. I'm not going to just say women do it. Men do it too, because I just proved that my father done it, and he has done it to other people. He's done it to my mother, and I've seen him do it. And now I got to be very tight with who I'm giving my personal stuff to, And then you're thinking this guy is being closed off. Well, he's not trusting. Trust is a hard thing to get. You got to build trust. You got to earn somebody's trust. And people are watching what you do to other people. They're listening to your conversations with your girlfriend or to your partner. And if you're giving out personal information to this person, that person, why should they give you their personal information? I've seen where those who we trusted in the cloth have done it to other people. And that's even more hurtful, because you're trusting somebody who says they know God and they know good and well that they ain't supposed to, but you getting all personal information while you own the pool pit, even though everybody might not know who it is, but that person who you talk to and counsel with knows who it is. And yes, you're giving an example, but now people are looking around trying to see, who is this person? We have to be very careful with how we deal with people's lives. And because they already have a problem with trust, and they're still carrying around other baggage. As a person who's a counselor, I have a certificate in counseling. I don't always practice, but I do know how to do it personally. I don't charge anybody, but I know don't give up anybody's information, because it's very vital to who they are, and we should not be giving that personal information to anybody else. Once you say it to me, it's done. I can't give it out. I don't care who it is. And it's because once it gets out, what kind of damage have you done? Who you have helped now you set them back. So we have to be in a place where somebody's baggage we have to be very careful with it. And we have to realize, okay, what if that was me? And I'm being trusted with I'm trusting somebody else. And now they give it up to somebody else. So if we as people, knowing if somebody comes to us in confidence, got to know that they're trusting us enough not to hurt them, because we don't need to add to their baggage.
So I have a question for you, Tracy. When you're an adult and say you're connecting with someone new, maybe starting a new relationship, new business, ship, whatever it is, and you meet this individual, say it's a woman, she meet this individual, this guy with a lot of baggage, how does she deal with him? How does she handle him? Knowing that, and well, I guess from the first conversation, understanding that he has a whole lot of baggage. How do you approach a guy with that?
Well, I'm gonna say this: everybody comes with a lot of baggage, automatically. You yourself, knowing you have stuff that you have been hurt by yourself. So it's when we treat people like we want to be treated, love people like we want to be loved, be very careful on how you are dealing with, because once a man starts to give you a piece of his personal baggage, that's the starting process of him trusting you. And if he gives that to you, that should be under lock and key, and understand that you got to know if you're ready to deal with that too. Because there's some stuff we just know we can't deal with. So if he's giving you something personal, just say he says to you, yeah, I was molested. If he tells you that, something as personal as that, what do you do with that? And how do you go from there? Because there's certain things that you might have to ask more questions. And if he says he's not ready to answer those, that's what you do. You give him that space until he's ready to answer. Just as carefully as you would want to be treated with your personal stuff, treat him the same way. Because you have to think about, if that was me, how would I want this handled? And I don't think a lot of people think about that. They're ready to just, okay, they gave me that information. Oh, now I got it. And they get mad, or they get around other people and they're ready to tell it. But yet if that same person told that same personal business, how would they react? We gotta think about that. Is how would we want to be treated in that situation? I think that's how we need to deal with it, in a way. And then it's simple as asking the question. Okay, you told me this. So, and what you will want to know, but see, personally, I would want to know, okay, so why did you feel trusted enough to tell me this? And let that man answer. Because, if somebody asked me that, I've had people come to me and it's like, why did you feel like you were okay with telling me your personal business? Mm-hmm. And some people say, well, I feel like I can trust you. Some people said you have a spirit about you. I don't have to worry about that. And that's good to know. Because if they are telling you, they think of you enough to tell you their personal business, that's a testament to you. So understand that you have something in you that can be helpful to them into their future.
That's good. That's good. I totally agree with that. This guy was telling me, he was talking about, it's been years ago, he was talking about his nonprofit and how he have a lot of young people coming to him asking questions and telling personal things. And he was saying, the first thing about that, you have to understand what confidentiality is. Some of that stuff you may have to take to the grave with you, but if people come and confide in you, then they trust you enough, that you've shown them enough trust that they can say, you know what, I know this is a safe space. Let me give them a little bit and see what happens. So definitely confidentiality is the thing that we have to remember in that situation. Torella, welcome to the virtual roundtable. Go ahead, I see you.
Good evening. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the gentleman's name who was speaking earlier, but you said something very important about making sure that, asking that person, okay, why are you trusting me with this? But I also think it's important in the beginning when somebody is getting ready to open up to you, what do you want me to do with this information? So I've been an educator for many years, and I would have students come to me and I would say to them, whoa, 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 what do you want me to do with this information that you're getting ready to share with me? Because now if you tell me something crazy, I'm a mandatory reporter, so I gotta go tell it. But outside of that, just with our relationships that we're developing outside of that, okay, what do you want me to do with that? So I'm married. Everybody who confides in me knows that I didn't tell it to my husband. It was just between me and you because I'm who you talk to. And then I also think we have to be careful. Okay, I know why I know why you're telling me this, and I know what you want me to do with it. But the other piece of that is we have to be careful, because a lot of times we say that we want that we should do people the way we want people to do us. And I think we got to be careful with that, because I'm kind of hardcore. Like, I'm kind of like, you could come to me straightforward and be like, Torella, that dress is hideous that you have on. And I'm going to be okay with that. But to go to somebody else and treat them the way that it's okay to treat me, that might not work for them. You need me to tell you with some white, delicate gloves on, sweetie, did you look in the mirror before you put that on? Did you turn in every direction? So I think we kind of have to be careful. But I really like the part where you said, why are you telling me this? Why do you feel comfortable telling me this? But just also keeping in mind, what do you want me to do with this information? And then doing to people the way they want us to do them, not necessarily the way we want people to do us. Because all of us have different backgrounds. All of us have some rhinoceros skin on us in certain areas. You know what I mean? If I say something about your spouse, that might not be a soft spot for you. But if you say something to me about my spouse, I might want to jump through the Zoom and bust you up. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to kind of keep that in mind. Very good conversation, guys.
Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, Tracy.
Well, you know what? And that is, it's very good that she brought that up, because we do have, I'm a grandfather, and we have some grandparents, we have some aunties, we have some uncles, we got some mentors on here. And you have to ask that question, because there are certain things that we know we have to report. If somebody is doing harm to themselves, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, look, I can't leave that alone. Like, you harming yourself, I can't leave that alone. You're gonna have to say something, or you're getting ready to harm somebody else, hurt them. You got to really be honest with them. And that's when the relationship comes in, because like she was saying, like, we got to know each other. Because like, if you don't have, if it's a relationship, I should know how to handle you. I might be, rough with my words, but I might not be as rough with my words with you, because I know you, and I know you can't deal with certain things, that how I may say things. So there's certain people, because according to how I deal with them, like my children, each one of my children is different. So how I talk to them is different. I don't talk to them all the same way, because they all have different personalities. They all have different way they do things. It's a different way they learn. It's a different way they talk, and how they, like one of my daughters, she doesn't yell or scream. She can literally see a bug in her room and sit there and walk in my room and say, Dad, there's a bug in my room. Where another one would yell and scream because she saw a bug in the room. So I handle them differently. They handle things differently. So we have to know that person. So even if that person who you might have just met for 2 weeks, that question that you asked, well, what do you want me to do with this, kind of helps you to understand where they are, and how you're going to be able to handle that. Because, well, they start by telling you, well, I felt like I trusted you, and you're not going to be, this harsh with me, and and then you can tell them like, look, I'm usually a person that's really straightforward. So I just want you to understand that sometimes I'm not trying to be harsh, but I'm trying to let you know how I feel. So please don't take it as like, you don't want them to put you in a place where they put somebody else, where that baggage is sitting. So I really think that we build the relationship by asking, and that's another thing, we got to ask more questions. I think for me, because I'm a counselor by heart and I'm very inquisitive, I'm just gonna ask more questions, so I can get a better understanding on how I can deal with things. And if you're not a person that can't deal with that, please let them know. Please let them know that's not the place you're in. That's not the space you're in. And that, yes, you can be trusted with information, but look, I don't know. You got to let them know, that before they get all deep into this, that just certain things I might not be able to deal with, and then give them reasons why, because, you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings in the end if you really can't deal with the situation. Like I remember my son actually was dating a girl and he couldn't deal with her personal stuff, and I said, why are you still messing with her? I was like, if you can't deal with this, if you're not ready to deal with this, then you need to separate yourself, and he listened for a while, but of course, he's young, but he came back to me on this, Dad, I understand why you said that. So we have to get to know who we're dealing with too. And it is a tight, it's a thin line, it's a tight rope we're dealing, it's really narrow space we're dealing with, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
That's so true. Go ahead, Torella.
Now that was really good. If I can't deal with it, I need to let you know up front so you don't even come into my space like that. That was good. That was real good. That's all I had to say.
I think that's making expectations known up front, right?
Yeah.
If I make those expectations known, then it's not a guessing game. We know where we are, and this person may be the one that I'm gonna tell A, B, C, or D to, but sometimes you got to build that trust. You have to work up to that. So it may not be when I first meet them, right? It may be a couple of months or years down the line, but that has to be built up. It has to be a mutualness between us. And as I always say, that ground has to be fertile. I don't care how much we both in church together, shouting, jumping, and carrying on, or we both work together, we work out together, whatever it is. If the ground is not fertile for me to feel comfortable exposing whatever it is need to be exposed, it doesn't matter how we're connected, So that comes in relationship. That comes in, talking and communicating, and again, making those expectations known up front. Go ahead, Lasagna.
All right. Hello, everybody. I was listening at everybody, and we have to learn not to be fake. It's like, it's a lot of things, a lot of people, we fabricate. It looks good on the outside, have a nice little beautiful outside, but then on the inside, it's a lot of dry stuff. It's a lot of stuff that people don't like to put on the outside. And I was listening at the young man, Tracy, I think. Yeah, Tracy. I was listening at him, and you just tell him, even your son, you tell him your opinion, but it is good to let people learn. They have to learn, because sometimes, we always learn from the difficulties in life. It really, and I'm gonna say it in that way, because if I just quote, trials come to make us strong, it is the truth. You either learn, your head gonna be hard, but it's like allow yourself and other people to go through. Allow them to go through, and that's how you learn self-control. It was a lot of good nuggets I heard, even with the baggage. That's why I love the round table, because it's like, own your brokenness. Sometimes people don't know how to do that. Like, how do you own that? No, just put it out there. Be honest with yourself, and then take down a lot of expectations. And I think that's where we get wounded, because our expectations is outward. We want people to agree with us. We want people to feel about an idea, how we feel, you know, even with the divorce thing. It's like, I know children get hurt by that because of their expectations, but we do have to get past that. And I think self-control, when you learn to love, you'll almost be able to love people through anything. Don't mean you got to be around them, but not carry around that resentment and that extra baggage that have brought a lot of pain, because life is gonna happen. I think I said that last. Life is it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But when we learn to deal with the situations that come our way and not hold that resentment, because it becomes baggage in life and you're gonna take it right to somebody else. I remember telling this young man, I don't have a jealous bone in my body, you know, until time kind of proved wrong. You know, I didn't have a reason to be jealous, but that don't mean I didn't get jealous up the road. But sometimes we're not like that until we have a reason to be a certain way. So we do have to learn to throw that stuff, you know, throw that stuff down. We got to learn to weather these storms. And that is through the grace of God. I got to bring him in there because, you know, that's who gonna bring us through.
Yes, ma'am. That's good. You know, a lot of times we have to go through things so that triggers can be hit. You know, a lot of times we always stay surface with conversation, always stay in safe conversation. Those things that have disturbed us, deterred us in the past, they'll never be touched. But when you begin to speak to some people and they begin to hit those triggers, and you begin to feel a certain way, like you said, I didn't know I had jealousy there. Somebody had to hit a trigger or had to do something for you to understand that it's still something there. You thought it was gone, but it's still there. So it's so important that we make these connections, that God makes these divine connections so that we can begin to begin to become better people each and every day by our life experiences, because life is a classroom of lessons. You know, if you're not learning, you're not growing. You might as well go on and clock out of here. If you didn't go through a lesson today, if something did not happen today to challenge you for who you are as a person, where you are in life, then hey, you may need to go back to sleep and start all over again. You know, but you should look for some type of lesson in everything that happens. Go ahead, Tracy.
I like what Lasagna said, because sometimes we got to let wisdom smack us or somebody else in the face. You know, a lot of times, especially as parents or those who have been around people who we are somewhat mentoring, or a father figure, mother figure too, we want to control everything. That's baggage too. That's baggage on yourself, and that's baggage on the person. And I say that from experience. Because there were things in my life that I didn't feel comfortable doing because of control, or I didn't want to say anything because of control, or I knew it would be an issue because it had to be their idea, you know. And when I say their idea, I'm really talking about my dad. So I mean, I'm saying that because not only my dad, but even in my marriage that I had, it was like, if it wasn't their idea, if it wasn't their thing, then it wasn't right. And we put so much on a person, you kind of constrict them. You almost feel like, you know, slaves did in a way, because they couldn't do nothing about the control of the master, you know, and we're not here to control people. So when my son did what he did anyway, okay, I'll let him see. And I'm not going to get on his case about it, but I'm going to let him come talk to me. One of the things that I have to say, and I think with me doing that with my children, is that they feel like they can come talk to me of just about everything. And I don't want to hold them back, because I'm not going to control their life. Like, once they turn 18, I don't want that baggage of me trying to hold their hand and hold them everywhere they go. Yes, I will guide them as much as possible, you know, but why put the extra baggage of them being controlled by me? Yes, I might have some wisdom, but they also have their own mind. If I don't trust what I taught them growing up, then that's on me. I got to think I'm a bad parent now. So we have to make sure that we're not getting to a point where even those who are confining us, now we gotta feel like we gotta control them, because they're not always gonna listen to us. Baggage is also when people try to control somebody, you know. And I've seen that happen too many times, where when I was teaching middle school boys and parents would come to me and they would say, well, he wants to do this and he wants to. I said, well, let him see. Since he knows better than you do, let them see, and then see what happens from there. And one lady, I remember, she said he wants to go back with his dad. Okay, let him go, let him see. And I said, the reason why I'm telling you this, because I went through the same thing, and I got to see who exactly my father was and why my mama left. And she let him go, and he got to see. So it wasn't to the point where now, oh, mama's just keeping me away from my dad. Now he got to see why she was saying what she was saying. Now, even with my son, he came to live with me. He wanted to go back with his mom. Okay, go ahead. And he had to see what she was like. My oldest son. I have 6, by the way, just so you know. When y'all say I'm a young man, I appreciate that very, very much. But, you know, these kids keep me feeling like I'm a little older than what I am, but I love him dearly. But the thing is that he got to see some of his mother, some of her personalities and things that he did not see before. Not that I was trying to do it to prove a point. I just wanted him to see for himself without me trying to tell him. And sometimes we got to let experience slap people in the face in order for them to learn. You know, now, of course, you know, I'm saying that, but be kind of careful with that too. You know who the person you're dealing with and make sure they don't hurt themselves. But sometimes we have to let people release their own baggage because they don't always believe what we're saying. And I think counselors and those who are psychologists kind of let people understand where they are. And sometimes they help them solve their own problems just by talking it out. And I don't know if anybody agrees with that or not, but I know even from myself, I know I need to go, and I'm going to set up my appointment myself to talk to somebody about my issues, because I don't want to keep in this same cycle. And we can't keep going in the same cycle thinking something's going to happen differently, you know, and we know that's insanity.
That's right. That's right. I got a question for you. You were talking about, and we talked about it before. Talking about the issues you had with your dad, and he's dead and gone. He passed last year, but you said there are still some things that you're holding on to. Why do you feel that you're holding on to those things? He's gone now. It's not like you can go back and talk to him about these issues. So nothing really can be rectified from this point forward on his behalf. Why do you feel that you are continuously holding on to those instead of letting them go and being at peace with it? Because, just watching like on social media yesterday, I was just watching, you did a tribute to your father and did something with your kids for him. Why do you feel that it's hard for you to let this go?
Because I didn't have the conversation. Really, because I didn't have the real conversation, even though I know that conversation would have been difficult. And this is why I suggestion to those before it's too late. If you haven't had that real conversation with that person, if you haven't written them a letter, made a video, had the conversation on the phone, face to face, regardless of how difficult the conversation is, I think this is why we hold on to it, because there's no closure behind it. And that's why I say I know I need to go talk to somebody, but I don't, what I think that's just personally in me. I'm not saying I do it all the time, but I do not try to bring that to anybody else. I'm not saying it doesn't happen all the time, because I know, we still hold stuff and it could come out, but I do my best not to bring that to anybody else. But I do want to say this. One of the baggage that I do hold from that relationship is that I hate it when people cut me off when I'm talking. Reason being is because that's something he would always do. And what he used to say to me was, I don't care about what you say. I don't care about what you think. I could care less. I'm your father. You're supposed to listen to me. And it was always about what he wanted and never really trying to know who I am. And even him to say, I could care less about who you are. So there are words that are said that we hold baggage on. And even in that video, it talks about that, how when people say certain things to you, we hold on to that. Somebody, and it's one of the worst things, the phrases that, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. That's a lie. I heal faster from a stick hitting me or my bones being broken than I do from actually what somebody says to me internally. The tearing down is easy. It's the building back up that takes longer. I've seen buildings tore down, but it takes longer to build that building back up. And the same thing with our lives. This is why we have to be careful with how we deal with people, because we don't know what they're going through. And if we understand that it's not about being tough and about somebody not being able to handle it, it's about understanding that everybody deals with stuff and we don't all deal with it in the same way. We all have baggage. So me not being able to have that conversation with my father, as much as I tried to have that conversation with my father, it was always a thing where I couldn't get it out. So, and this is why I know I need to go talk to somebody about it, because if I don't, then I don't ever want it to be where I'm bringing that out on somebody else. I do my best to listen to my children because I wasn't listened to. I do my best to listen to other people because I wasn't listened to. Too many people shrug people off, and not realizing that one conversation, that one hello, that one how you doing, that one time you're caring about somebody could make a difference on whether or not they might be here or not the next day, next hour, or next second.
That's good. I definitely believe that. And you have to get to a certain age and a place in maturity when it comes to naturally and spiritually. So where you want to start fixing what's broken on the inside of you. It's so selfish to continue to allow those things to take residence on the inside of you. Because when you get to that certain age of maturity, late 30s, 40s, you begin to see how these things that you're holding are affecting the people that you're connected to. Some people actually take time and say, you know what, let me go get counseling, like you said, or let me fix what I know is broken, what I see is broken, or what somebody has hit inside of me. But then you have other people that are selfish, they're stubborn, that they hold on to it. But this is the thing that we talk about when we refer to generational health. And to me, that's generational wealth as well. I have to be generationally healthy so that I don't continue to pass these things on and on, because if you never get issues with that, some of your kids are going to have residue of that as well, right? And then your grandkids are going to get it. So the ball has to stop somewhere, right? You have to look at this issue and be like, you know what? I'm not going to continue putting off going to get counseling. I'm not going to continue in this place that I am. I know that for myself to be healthy and for me to move on to the next level, I definitely have to make sure that I deal with that issue. And that's something that I've been doing. I told God it was something that I wanted. I'll share it. I told him, I said, probably a couple of years ago, I said, God, I'm ready to get married. He said, okay. Well, then, since you are, some people just, they think of the idea like, I'm going to go get married. I'm going to do this. But when I begin to tell God about it, because number one, I want him to be the head of it. He said, okay, I'm going to take you through an individual counselor. Before you go see any counselor, I need to take you through a counselor myself. And he began to bring people in my life that began to be a mirror to me, right? And they began to show me myself. Now, that takes humility. because for someone to come in front of you and actually do some things that really get on your nerve, when I say humility, it means that you have to shift your mindset and not look at the fact of, dog, he's annoying, or she working on my nerve, but you look at the fact of, let me really evaluate myself and see if what I'm seeing is what they're seeing in me. And when I begin to look at situations like that, it began to allow me to see myself, right? And I begin to, instead of arguing with them, I begin to suck it up. Now, don't mean I wasn't having no conversation within myself. Don't mean I wasn't talking about them in my head, like, you know, I'm in my own little world. But I had to be mature enough and say, you ask God for something. So if you ask him for something, he's requiring something of you, right? So begin to fix your attitude. Begin to fix your daddy issues. Begin to fix your mom issues. Some people, some things I didn't even realize until certain people came in my life. And it was like, dog, man, I do have daddy issues that I haven't dealt with. You know, I do have mama issues that I haven't dealt with. So God said, since daddy is dead and gone, let's deal with those issues first, right? And then we can deal with the mama issues later, or whatever other issues that you're dealing with. And I begin to see myself. I begin to do counseling for myself because I felt I had begun to work. I began to own my brokenness. But sometimes there are some things that we can't even see, you know, because they're so common to us. They're so natural because I've been doing them all my life. This is me, you know, so I have to go be deprogrammed or broken down so that I can hear what someone else is seeing that I can't even see, that's hidden in plain sight to me. Lasagna, go ahead. I saw your hand first.
Oh, that's good. That was good right there. What you said, because this is what we don't have, control. And I had, because he kept saying control, control. And there is a huge problem in the world with that, because I look at what control is, the power to influence or direct people's behavior. We don't have that power. We don't have that power to direct, you know, direct somebody else's behavior, how they are. But then the self-control, it's like, how do you handle what just happened to you? How do you handle, because you will have so much baggage, and you will, your children will be a victim of it. You know, I know I had a lot of baggage, and I like what you said, Lady Kaya, about you ask God, you know, you told him, I'm ready to get married, you know, but you waited for that maturity, because sometimes we jump into things and we are not mature yet. We have to mature all the way through the marriage, and it makes it very, very hard. But it's like, ask for what you want. And then just know that you still can't control, but it's just good to bring God in the situation, because you never know what happened. I'm very open to all the situations that people go through, even divorce. It's like, you ain't got no control over that. You might plan to be, you know, till death do us part. And then you feel like you owe everybody else around you to stay in this marriage. You know, I'm just looking at all the control in the world. Even with, you know, when I hear that word, I think about religion. Religion, it will control you. You know, things will control you. And I heard a wise man say, if you make people do something, they might do it, but they'll resent you for it later. You'll be surprised, a flood of things will come up, you know, later, way later, you done it. But we got to just be aware of life itself around us and take control of self.
That's good right there. She talked about talking about control, and this man told me, he said, you know, the biggest thing that's going to keep a lot of Christians out of the kingdom is religion, because it's so controlled. You know, we all want to be sectioned out. Well, we believe this, born a Baptist, die a Baptist. We believe in doing this over here. We're doing this here. This. God didn't call us to religion. He called us to, number one, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, soul, and strength. And then number two, love thy neighbor as thyself. We're doing everything else besides that, right? We're so focused on what this person is wearing at church. We're so focused on what title this person has. We're so focused on everything else that's going on in life versus you know what, let me do the thing that I'm supposed to do. Let me love. Let me show genuine love. Because a lot of times we can love on people, but it's just for formality. You know what I'm saying? It's not genuinely coming out, you know, and you, after a while, people can tell if that love that you're giving is genuine or not. They can tell if it's real, because if it's real, you ain't gonna see nobody out taking no pictures trying to post it on Facebook and Instagram. They don't care about all of that. And that's what people are today. They want everybody to see that I'm giving, I'm doing, I gave to the poor, I gave them a stack of $100 bills. None of that stuff matters. All that's materialistic stuff. And if the only way that I can love you is with something tangible, then I gotta question my love, right? To me, that ain't it. Father's Day, happy Father's Day to all of you fellows that are on here, that are fathers. But my thing is, I say, you know what, if I love you, then you should know it before Father's Day. I shouldn't wait till one day to show you that I love you and to get you a pretty pair of socks and some meat to put on the grill that I need you to grill today for me. That's not love, you know what I'm saying? That's a day that they set aside, but I should be showing you love every day. You should still feel like a king every day of the year, right? If I genuinely love you. Go ahead, Tracy. I see your hand.
Well, what y'all was saying was relationship over religion. I mean, religion is control. And if we have relationship, that's why God gave us free will, because he wants us to do it because we love him, not because we're made to do it. When I think about that, it's not because we're made to, it's because we know and we love him. And so we're gonna sacrifice ourselves and what we want to do his will. And when we realize that he's not even trying to control us, he wants us to do it because we love him. So that's why we should treat people the same way. And the scripture you're talking about, I use it all the time when I'm going against those fake Christians on TikTok. I use Matthew 22, 37 through 39. That's exactly what you said, because there's no reason for us to try to control anybody. Stop being the sin police, and we don't need to be doing that. All right. So, but I want to go to this real quick. You said something, Lasagna, about the kids and those who are parents. And, you know, are you willing to release some baggage from your children by dealing with yourself? So you have to go to your children, and you got to be ready for this. I'm telling you, you get your ground fertile. Ask God to help you to be quiet when you ask your kids this question: what did I do to traumatize you? And things that I did in your life. Tell me what I did that has harmed you. And be ready for this conversation. Because it's going to be a conversation first. Let it be a monologue. Let them talk to you. If you got to tape your mouth shut and listen. Because your kids, if you're going to let them be honest, and you got to tell them, look, you got to be ready for it. Now, you have to ask God to let you be ready for this and to hear what they have to say. You're not going to like it. You're going to hate it, and you're going to be ready to defend yourself. What you need to do is, first, when you hear this, apologize for what you did and the baggage that you caused them to have. Ask them how we can fix it. And then maybe you can explain yourself later. Because if we continue to let our children go into this trauma that we have given them, we all did it. We ain't the perfect parents. We all did it. We all did it. And I say this because my son had a conversation with me. And he asked me a question about why I did what I did. Now, he asked me why. I didn't go to him. This time he came to me. But I have asked them all, what did I do to y'all to make y'all feel in a certain way? And I was willing to listen. And it was hard. It was hard to hear, but I dealt with it. And I wanted to hear it because I'm willing to try to keep the relationship with my children. Fathers, do not bring your children to wrath. Nobody you want to hear that other part of the scripture, you know, children honor your parents. But most of us don't want to hear that other part about what we have done to them.
Mm.
Hold yourself accountable for what you have done to your children. You are not the perfect parent. You have caused them some kind of trauma. You said something to them. You did something to them that has been harmful to them. They just ain't told you because they were trying to be respectful to you and you didn't give them that space to talk. I ain't talking about cleaning no dishes and nothing like that. I ain't talking about housework. I'm talking about real stuff that you got to deal with. Are you willing to take the baggage off your children? I don't care how old they are. It don't matter how old they are. When my son said to me, Dad, I think we just went to church entirely too much. You didn't just did. And you know what I had to tell him? Say, yep, you're right. I wish I'd have balanced it out. Not that church was wrong, but we have to balance out the time. We have too many drug babies to the church. When I say that, they're dragging them, but you're not building relationships with them. There's a song by this guy named Jay Son, and he talks about parent me. It's about 10 years old, but it's so deep, especially that last part when he's talking about the pastor's son and how he's doing so much for the church, but he's not doing nothing for his son. He's going here, and there, but he's not having a relationship with his son. And how many of us are in ministry so much that we're not doing something for our children? We're asking them to be here, but we're not going to their games. We're not going to their recitals. We're not going to their speaking engagements, to their debate thing. We're not going to none of that because we got to be at the church. We have hurt them because we're asking them to do something for us, but we're not willing to do something for them. And first thing we're going to say, well, I pay your bills. And no, we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to feed them. We're supposed to take care of them. That's what we're supposed to do. We must be there for our children. We have caused trauma and we have sat there and pushed it to the side and we have not said anything to them. So are you willing to take that baggage off your children?
That's good right there. That right there. Oh my goodness. That's something we definitely need to do. But because like you said, a lot of kids, most kids are, now I don't know about those today, but those that have a little age on, they're very respectful because we were raised like that. I'm gonna say 80s babies on back. I don't know about y'all 90s kids. Y'all different breed. 90, 2000. We're gonna talk about y'all another session. We're gonna talk about the older ones. We were raised, to respect our parents. Sometimes that respect was beat in you. Something, it's just a lot of different ways, but there was still respect. So even people of the age group you're talking about, they're not finna use profanity in front of their parents. They ain't finna drink with their parents. They ain't finna do all that because even being grown, there are certain things that it's just like, I ain't finna do all of that because I wasn't raised like that. Even if they say it's okay, you always get that itchy feeling like, no, this is a setup right here. I ain't finna do it. Or even if you don't feel like it's a setup, it's like, no, I'm not finna do that because I have that level of respect. Not just your parents, but other people's parents as well. But when it comes, so that respect is always there. So a lot of times that respect has an underlying thing of fear. Fear meaning that I can't talk to them about this because I already know they either gonna fuss, they're not gonna hear what I gotta say, it's gonna come out some way wrong, or the ground is not fertile. It's so much respect and fear there together that I just don't feel comfortable sharing this with my parents, or with my mom or with my dad. And that was an issue that I had to deal with my mother. There was some things I needed to say. And at the age of 41, still hadn't said them. And when I told her a little bit ago, she was like, well, why didn't you say anything, about that? So my thing, the same as what you were just saying, is like we were in church all the time. I just felt like we didn't have a life. I felt the church it just controlled us and everything that we did. We couldn't do this. We could play the sports and stuff, but you wasn't going to all the games if they fell on a church night. So if Bible study is on Tuesday and church is on Friday, you may get to go to homecoming. You may go to the first game of the season, but you're not going to go to all those games. So there was some built up anger inside because I knew that I had a gift, and I knew that I needed an outlet. I played in church as well, played instruments and song and music and things, but I wanted to be able to do that other places as well. And you said it earlier, it's so important that balance is there. If that balance is not there, then you're going to find that child one-sided. So when they do go off and go to college or go somewhere, they're going to be wild as they can be. They're going to come up pregnant. They're going to end up drinking. They're going to do all this. And I'm not saying balance means sit there at the house and drink with them like some of the parents do now. But it's the thing of let those walls down, those guards down, so that they can talk to you about whatever. So some of the things that they are going to go through or want to experience, maybe if that ground is fertile enough, they can talk to you and you can show them, you know what, I went through that. Let me tell you the outcome. You still have free will, but let me tell you what happened when I went through it. Let me tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. Let me really be real with you and show you what can happen if you make this choice. A lot of times that question or that phrase, it wasn't put to us like that. It was just like, no, you don't do this because I said such and such and such. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, well, dog, I can't do nothing, you know, or whatever. And then you hear a lot of times people say, don't do what I do what I say. That's so backwards to me. What does that mean? You know, because you tell people that it's like, I'm going to do what I see because that's the example that I see in front of me. Even if you said don't do it, you say don't smoke. You leave a pack of cigarettes around a young child, the majority of them start smoking when mama or daddy or grandpa or somebody have left that pack of cigarettes. They're going to sneak one out. They're going to find a lighter somewhere and they're going to take off in the woods and they're going to try. Now they're going to choke. They're going to gag, but I'm trying it because you told me not to. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't give me everything that I needed for me to build this case or this situation of why I shouldn't do that. I'm enjoying this, Tracy. It's good. This is definitely good. A lot of times we get Christianity, we put that in the way of a lot of stuff. We put that as a Band-Aid and a plug, not just Christianity, but just the fact that I love the Lord. We put that as a Band-Aid and a plug there to avoid life. Life is going to happen. Lasagna said a few minutes ago, life is going to happen. Trials, tribulations are going to come up. How do we handle them when we're faced with them? How do we handle this baggage? How do we stop things from being created as baggage, right? Because baggage don't have to be there if there's that fertile ground where I can start getting this stuff out like, yeah, y'all going through a divorce and it's affecting me. Let me show you how it's affecting me. Let me tell you the emotions I feel, you know, through this. I'm going to turn over to you in a minute. Lasagna. I was telling my mom, we went through some church hurt. And I think everybody that have been in church have gone through that. A lot of things that had gone on, you know, in the church. And I had told my mama a little bit ago, I said, you know, yeah, you were hurt. You went through a whole lot of stuff, but you never stopped to think or even ask if me and my sister were affected by it. And she had to pause right then. I'm talking about at the age of 41. She had to pause and be like, no, I didn't. You know, I hadn't even thought about it. Sometimes as parents or as adults, we can get so selfish in what we go through. We don't even think that it's affecting the people that you're connected with. They may not be vocal about it. They may not say anything, but because you went through that situation, now there's some baggage or some bitter roots that's built inside of that child that needs to be addressed. And they're not going to address it because they're internalizing everything. They're taking everything and they see that you're hurt. So they try their best not to bring that up because they know every time they bring it up to you, it's going to take you on a whole nother rampage. So they're really protecting your feelings as an adult. But sooner or later, they're going to have to address their hurt that's in the inside of them because now it hasn't been addressed and this bitter root is getting fed. It's getting fed and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. Now they get to this relationship or they get to their marriage and they're having all types of issues and the other person don't even know where it's coming from. And it's coming from those seeds that have been planted from that parent's baggage, from that parent's situation. Lasagna, go ahead.
Sometimes we pick up so much stuff from our surroundings and even in religion and among us Black people, you know, I'm gonna beat it in them. I'm gonna beat it. You know, it's just wrong altogether. How you beat something in somebody like that would cause you this certain things that cause drama to the child's spirit. It just break them. You know, that's like a bully. Sometimes us adults can be bullies. And I was I was a bully, you know, cause I could tell my kids, my children what to do, you know, but when they growed up, Mr. Tracy, yeah, they did. They came to me, they talked to me, you know, and I was very open. I was very close with my children, but that still don't mean that you're gonna do the right thing. It's just good to really observe self. And then a lot of times we want to tell our children what to do, but we don't want to lead by example. It's one thing to do something in front. I mean, you can fabricate anything. Hollywood is good at that. Anything you watch on TV, but if that ain't in your spirit, that ain't your energy, you can do anything in front of a child. No, that's what you teaching them to do. That's energy is coming from you. No, they gonna do this in front. They gonna learn how to fake in church. They gonna learn, you know, they gonna do just what, when they hear us at home, they gonna learn how to do it. We really mold our children. So we do have to lead by example, and ain't no such thing you gonna beat something in a child. That just never made no sense to my brain. I could never wrap my mind around that. So we got to change. Like with my children always say, well, mama, you don't never, you when we was little, you used to do this to us. I said, well, I'm mature now, you know, I'm mature now, so I don't do my grandchildren like I done my children, because I have really matured, you know, in so many ways. As self, I take self inventory, so I don't treat my grandchildren like I used to do my children. So I don't even let them even put that burden on my head, like, you know, mama, do this to them because you did this to us. No, it don't even work like that. But I really do explain it to them. You really got to explain stuff to, you know, to people. They fully grown, and you still have to explain things, because I have took a lot of inventory of myself.
That's good. They said when you know better, you're supposed to do better. So as you get older, life is supposed to teach you some things that you're supposed to instantly make adjustments when you see those things. Guys, this is good. We're wrapping up. I don't want to hold you much longer, but I'm really enjoying this conversation. I pray that you all have gotten something out of it. But this is how we begin to address these issues and begin to start the healing process, by having conversations like this, right? Opening up, because you never know what you say, how it will help and affect someone else. Go ahead, Tracy.
What I want to say is about the whole parent and child situation is that, you know, especially when you said to do as I say, not as I do, that never works. It never works, because children watch what you do. They learn from what you do. What you say, a lot of times, like, you're not listening to me. No, because they're watching what you do more than what you say. And we have a whole lot of lip service sometimes, and they don't pay that no mind. So when you do and you're the example, then they will follow that more often. And my daughters actually, it was very interesting that they said this. I remember I asked a question on social media about black women being protected. And I asked them, I said, do you feel protected by other men or black men? She's like, actually, no, I've been protected by the men in my family. And they just started naming names. So they named all their brothers, they named me, they named their uncles and all them. And he said, but for us, we don't feel comfortable about any other man. And the thing is they watched us protect. They also watched us work. So when they see other men and they get around other men or being in other relationships, and they see somebody not doing what we're doing, it affects them. Like, I don't understand. You know, when I saw this person, I saw them doing. How come you're not doing? You know, or when they watch their mother and they're like, okay, she does this, this, and this. Okay, this is how I need to be. It wasn't about what she said. It's about what she did. And we have to pay more attention to that. Think about some of the stuff we did that they went and did that was not really good. So, you know, I didn't drink because of my father, but, you know, yeah, my kids started drinking because they saw their uncles and all that, maybe saw somebody else doing it. But not to say I never had a drink, you know, but they watched me work. One of my things my son said to me, Dad, we always knew that you was a hard worker, so that's why we wanted to be a hard worker. We always saw you as trying to be kind and trying to help others. So they, in their way, they'll help other people. And they saw that even with their mom. So the thing is that when we talk about what our kids watch us do more than what we say, what about what we're doing that's not good that they see? Because you think you're hiding stuff. I used to find my dad stuff all the time. I used to find money, find books, the bad magazines and all the videos and all that stuff in his room because that's what he was doing. So I would watch what he was doing what he was doing. Well, how many times have we done stuff and we thought our kids weren't watching, but they were seeing everything we did? We have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. And no, we're not perfect. And we always got to I tell that to my kids all the time. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not trying to tell you to be perfect, but do better than us. And I'm going to try and show you the things I need you to do, show you, rather than just tell you. Start doing things that will help benefit your life. Follow your dreams. They've seen me start businesses, even though I might have failed, but they've seen me start it. So they're ready to start their own businesses. And if we see this happen, then if they see it happening, then they will do it. That's just with children, but also the people around us. The people we're around every day watch us. We think a lot of people ain't paying attention. They're paying attention. They're paying attention. Even those who are your haters, they're paying attention. But when you start doing what you say you're gonna do, people, you inspire people. And sometimes you take that baggage off of them just by doing what you need to do for your life, because you have helped somebody else by achieving. So we don't even realize just in our lives itself, we are helping people by doing the right thing. I think if for anybody, I know for myself, and I don't know if you're ready for this, Lady K, but there are some free services for counseling in the areas. There's some here in Decatur, in the Atlanta metro area that you can go to if y'all want. Pretty much, I had a great conversation with y'all. I love this. If y'all want to go ahead and find them for people that because I know everybody don't have the money to go. So you can find, even if it's just 3 counseling sessions, that's free. That might help you a lot.
We definitely appreciate that. God, this conversation has really been good. It has really opened my mind up to go look at some more things. But the question I want to leave each and every person with today is, what baggage are you carrying? I hope some trigger was hit tonight that, made you open your eyes and say, you know what, dog, I never did resolve that issue. Or maybe I do need counseling with this. There are some people that I spoke with need grief counseling, have had loss of a loved one and haven't gotten past that. They have all types of counseling, whatever it is you're dealing with. It don't necessarily have to be, something being raped or molested. It could be, like I said, loss. It could be all kinds of things. And a counselor is not going to rectify your issue. They're there to listen, right? They are there to create that atmosphere for you so that they can get you to talk and begin to address your issues and see that, you know what, I can make adjustments here, and this can be here. And therapy is good as well. Therapy is a little deeper. Therapy is where they diagnose. They can diagnose the problem. Not saying that you're crazy, but they can show you, give you different exercises, recommend different kind of treatments for you as well. But if you all would take time and go do some research on your own. But if there's nothing else, please be here next week. I have one of my teachers from high school that's going to be here. We're still dealing with Barbershop Talk, and he has an interesting experience that he has gone through, and he wants to share. He's open to share, and I'm telling you definitely want to be here for this one. But I'm excited because the men are sharing. This is how we begin to heal our male population. Let's let them share. Let's create this atmosphere where they can talk about the things that they're going through or they have gone through, because Tracy, I always say, you never know who's using your life as a blueprint for theirs. That's a saying that God gave me a while back, and you just said a few minutes ago, somebody's always watching. So remember, when you go out and about in the store, at the church, down to the neighbor's house, wherever you're going in your community meetings, there's always someone that is watching you. And they're supposed to. You're supposed to stick out like a light, especially if you're a child of God. You're not supposed to blend in with everybody, right? There's supposed to be some type of glow, something that distinguishes you from everyone else, even if you never open your mouth. And if you really be observant, you'll see that people will be drawn to you because of the light that's glowing from you. So make sure that you're always holding up the light, that you're always an example for other people to follow. Without further ado, I'm going to end in prayer. We've been on here a good little minute, but I've enjoyed every moment of it. God, Tracy, do you mind? I'll let our speaker take us out in prayer today, if you don't mind, sir.
You ready in season and out of season, right?
Yes, sir.
Father God, we thank you so much for this conversation that we had and who it might have helped, who it might have spoke to their heart and to their soul, Lord. And we pray that it has reached right down to the core to help them so they can help somebody else. We pray, Lord, that today it'll be a spark of change, a change to get closer to you, and change to get closer to their family, to any relationship that's going to help them be better and the people surrounding them. So we thank you so much for all of you done tonight and forevermore. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Y'all have a blessed night. Remember, I love you all, and there is nothing that you can do about it. Take care and be blessed.